G'day there guys, headphone enjoyer Markee here, and welcome back to another episode of r/EntitledPeople. Now if you love this little mix-up of content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Thank you. Posted by user SnooDonuts5467. Titled, Entitled Guy Wonders Why He Doesn't Have a Date for a Wedding. So my mum has a catering company, and when she has a big job, as it's a family-run business, she'll ask me and my sister to help out now and again when she needs it. We're not fans of it because we don't like people, but it's my mum's baby and we love her, lol. This particular time, it was a very chilled style wedding with an assembly line where we would divvy out my mum's delicious food. Anyways, I can hear this guy on the line loudly talking about how no one wanted to be his date for the wedding. Poor him, he's such a nice guy, etc. He gets to my mum in line and compliments the looks of the food and asks if she's the owner. She says yes, and that her two lovely daughters are helping. Entitled Guy looks at me and then my sister and says, well, one of them is lovely at least. My mum, taken aback, continues on as if he hasn't spoken and serves him. He gets to my sister, the lovely one, and tells her she's beautiful and how does it feel to be the typical beautiful younger sister, and she gives him a basilisk stare and asks him if he wants a bread roll. E.g., not wanting to hold up the line despite clearly wanting to carry on speaking to my sister, goes to me. Entitled Guy looks at me and says that he rates me about a 4 out of 10, and how awful it must be for me to have a 10 out of 10 looking sister. Now, I don't think I'm ugly, and I do think my sister is beautiful, but we look very different. She's very slim, athletic, tanned with bleach blonde hair with conker-colored eyes, whereas I'm hourglass, pale skin, grey eyes, and heavily tattooed. So I'm aware I'm an acquired taste. I'm not offended that he thinks my sister is beautiful. I think she's beautiful, however, I'm offended that he thinks we want his assembly line commentary, especially when he looks like a human version of a Seabiscuit. So I lean back and say, you're the guy without a date, right? I can see my mum twitching like, please for the love of God, don't be too harsh. He's grinning at me with his friends, all proud of himself, and I say, I wonder which one it is. If it's your lack of manners, looks, or personality that stopped you from getting a date when everyone else has one. Pausing to put some food on his plate, I hand it back to him and smile. I imagine it's all three. Also, despite being a 4, I've never not had a date for a function. Have a good day now. I never got to hear his response, as the line needed to get moving. However, Seabiscuit's smile is now gone. Such a shame, and I didn't get told off by my mum. Winning. Maybe now he'll have a better approach to women, but I doubt it though. Now in the comments, Atomic Fox 84 says, don't insult Seabiscuit like that, comparing him to that guy, lol. I bet your mum was trying hard not to laugh. That verbal smackdown was great. She was definitely worried that I was going to be rude and get her a complaint, but I couldn't let it go without saying something, lol. Like, dude, I'm working here. I'm not here on the pool. And even if I was, if you prefer my sister, awesome, but no need to be such an asshat about it. Great comeback. Would have loved to hear what the others thought of him, or did they just laugh in his face? His friends were just snickering, to be fair, and surprisingly, avoided me for the dessert round. Shocker. My sister told me she was definitely not interested, even before he opened his mouth. Alright, I think we're done with that one, and moving on to our next post by user NaggyNow101, titled, The Most Entitled Guy I Met on a Dating Site. So this took place between 2004 to 2005. My sister convinced me to do a Lava Life account, thinking no harm. The worst part was my mum decided to play around with my profile as I went to the bathroom. Yeah, dumbest thing I know. During the setup, she put some of what she thought I was or should be into. So yeah, she told me she entered and saved, and we waited for a few days. There was a few hits and a few misses. Most of the people hitting my profile kinda just turned me off. When I saw what was put in there, I was pissed. My mother attempted to say I was into sports. I wasn't. She did some changes to my profile and claimed that it would get me a date. I was pissed off because she didn't trust me to make my own damn decisions on a guy. After about a week, I got messaged by this one guy. I'll call him Eric. He was kind of interesting, at least by his photograph. We talked for about a day or two and chose to meet up. He told me to pick a restaurant, which I did, and also since I was between classes, we could meet. We met in front of an Indian restaurant, which my parents were friends with the owner. Eric showed up and was starting to give me a bad feeling. He said he didn't like my choice and dragged me to an old Chicago. He paid, which I guess was fine, but was annoyed that I was eating a salad instead of a huge pizza. I had to tell him that I was in Taekwondo and I needed to go light before class. You would think that he would understand, but he said it wasn't a real sport and thought that it was weird. I was a bit annoyed, but smiled and thought, okay, this is a one date, he will leave me alone after he finds that we're not a match. Yeah, no. He decided to ask me about some plans for about a week later, and I had a convention I was going to. When I told him my plans, he said nowhere on my profile did I say that I was a nerd. I explained my mother helped set up and deleted part of my hobbies. He just told me, whatever, just cancel my convention plans to go see a football game with him and his pals. Now I put my foot down and said no. He said since he put forth effort to meet, I owed him. I was seriously pissed and left. He paid my bill, but he messaged me via email, which I forwarded to my mother, telling her what this guy did. He then told me the game time and what he wanted me to get to prepare. I literally ignored him and went to the convention. I'd already booked a hotel room and had friends rooming with me. I did not tell them about the Lava Life screw-up and I moved on. As soon as I got to the hotel, my mum called to say that Eric was on his way to the hotel. She believed he was joining me for the weekend at the convention. Oh gods. He showed up and looked pissed. He demanded I unbook my room, which he said was a waste of money, and demand a refund on my badge because we were going to a football game. One of my friends, I will call Scott, who is a peacekeeper and was on security for the con, asked the guy to leave. Of course, the guy said that I was his girlfriend, and I had it. I said, I'm not your girlfriend. You should have gotten the hint when I didn't reply to your demands to see a game. I hate football. He got mad and then told me that he would give me a bad review on the account. I just told him good, and Scott made me get on his laptop after the guy left to shut down my account. After the incident, I got an email from some guy named Paul, who was Eric's friend, and ride home. He apologized for what happened and hoped I had a good convention because Eric ruined the football game for him and his wife. He said, we should have just gone to your convention because you actually sounded like a way better person to hang out with than him. And yeah, so far Eric was just an entitled asshole who just felt he had to boss me around. Now in the comments, Pill17 says, even his friends want nothing to do with him. Yikes. Yeah, that said a lot, honestly. Did your mum tell him where your hotel was? How did he find you? And OP replies, my mum assumed he was going to the convention with me. He also looked up the convention's name on Yahoo. Jesus, what a creep. I bet he has at least one restraining order against him. Jeez, your mum sounds pretty damn dangerous herself though. Involving her opinion in your love life and telling a stranger where you are? However, how did he even find out how to contact her in the first place? And why didn't you change your profile immediately after your mum screwed it up? And OP replies, she hit save beforehand, and at the time I was so busy, I was stupid, and I didn't get much attention on the damn site. My friend saw to it that it was shut down after Eric's BS move at a convention that could have gotten worse. He did a Yahoo search for the convention, and also I stupidly gave him my phone number, which he was blocked after the first date. He emailed me and my mum, who just didn't think that it was wrong to give him the convention hotel address. I kind of let loose on my mum after the whole BS move. Haven't used a dating site since. Anyway, moving on, our next post is by user Catherine the Sleepy, titled, Massive Karen's attack on my autistic brother ends up with me realizing my boyfriend is awesome. Hello, I'm a lurker here, but since my relationship's anniversary is coming, I think I should share my encounter with an entitled parent here, as it was when I realized my boyfriend was the one for me. I'm doing this on mobile, and English isn't my first language, so please forgive my mistakes. Meet the cast. There's me, 25 female, tiny Vietnamese girl living in the US since 9 years old, with an unusually shy yet cheerful personality who loves to read and is crazy for chocolate. My brother, 20 male short, chubby Vietnamese guy with some mental issues, but extremely intelligent and truly the sweetest boy ever. He loves dinosaurs and idolizes my boyfriend. Let's call him B. And boyfriend, 29 male, tall and muscular, long-haired and beardy Brazilian guy. Despite his permanent mean look, he's extremely kind, intelligent, and lovely. And he loves my family as his own. Keep this last bit in mind, it's important. Let's call him BF. Then there's Karen, massive lump of lard and entitlement. If you ever saw an obese Karen, you saw this one. Weird clothes, ugly bag, that haircut, huge sunglasses, and a voice which makes your ears bleed. And there is Karen's spawn. Probably an 8-year-old male, overweight brat. He's entitled as his mother. Not gonna say much more, don't want to trash talk a kid. Okay, so anyway. This story takes place during 2018's December, a week before Christmas. My boyfriend and I were visiting my parents for the holidays, and we wanted to go shopping for gifts in a shopping mall nearby. We decided to take my brother as well, since he was bored at home, and I wanted to spend more time with him. At the shopping mall, I decided to put my grand plan in motion. My boyfriend always surprises me on Christmas, but it would be my turn that year. I usually never ask him for anything, but this time I made the cutest face and voice I could and said, "Baby, can you get me a chocolate milkshake, please? I'll wait in this library here with B." And he's like, "Okay, be right back." And he kissed my head. Yeah, my head. It's faster because he's much taller than me. I picked this library for 3 reasons. His gift would be a book, as he loves reading just as much as I do. It wasn't far away from McDonald's where he would get my milkshake, and, more importantly, they had books with dinosaurs models. My boyfriend noticed it, and it became a perfect alibi since my brother was around. Now is when things started to go wrong. I took my brother to the place where they kept the dinosaurs books, way in the back, and told him to pick a book and wait there. He picked even before I could stop talking. I left him there because the library was big, and I had just a few minutes to buy my boyfriend's gift and hide it in my bag before he could see. I was maybe 10 minutes into my frenzied search for a book when I heard some loud voices from where I left my brother. There I saw that monstrous Karen, yelling and trying to wrestle the book my brother picked from him, while her spawn cheered from the sides, and a couple of workers, 2 teenage girls, stood there stunned, not knowing what to do. I rushed there and yelled, "What are you doing?" Karen, "This freak doesn't want to give my baby the book, so I'm taking it." Karen's spawn, "Mommy, give me the T-Rex." I grabbed her fat arm, which was easily 5 times thicker than mine, and I tried to pull her off him. Me, "Leave him alone. He picked it up first." Karen, "Stop lying and don't touch me, bitch." She pushed me. "Now, you're invalid son of a tramp. Give me this book now." She shoved me, and I landed on my butt some 4 feet away from her, stunned. This is when she started to slap my brother really hard. We could hear the smacks. On her 4th slap, though, my boyfriend came out of nowhere, tore that mastodon from my brother while pushing her and putting himself between my brother and her, who also fell on her butt. Now, I would like to say he's usually very calm, very quiet, a guy of very few words, and I've only seen him angry once. But even then, he never raised his voice. This time was different. His face was pure murderous rage, and he literally roared at the woman. "Boyfriend, don't you dare hurt my brother!" I was shocked to see him like that, but Karen went from red to white, and her kid went on mute. Another employee came dragging a security officer. Karen screamed she was assaulted. My boyfriend, again, calm as if nothing happened but angry as hell, explained his side of the story. I explained what happened, the teenage employees did the same, cameras were checked, and the bruises on my poor brother were looked at. The police were called and everything got reviewed. Turns out this Karen already had her problems with the law, and the only reason why we wouldn't press charges is because we wanted to finish shopping. She was arrested anyway, so why bother? In the end, my boyfriend had to go buy another milkshake for me since he dropped it when he rushed to aid my brother. I used the time to buy his book and my brother's with a huge discount. Later, when we were calmer, I started to analyze the whole situation and what he did. He looked scary, but the way he did that was so cool and hot. He called my brother his brother and protected him so ferociously. It was like watching a lion protecting his band. My parents were so grateful that they almost cried. If they liked him before, now they loved him to the point of calling him son, and my brother started to get along with him even better than before. You guys should see them playing Street Fighter together. It's so wholesome and funny. And me, well, let me say one thing. That night, I didn't let him sleep at all, and my hips were really sore the next morning, more than a foal could explain. We're getting married as soon as this whole pandemic thing is over. And oh yeah, he got surprised with the book. Mission accomplished. And in the comments, Starbug360 says, "Definitely a keeper." And OP replies, "I like to bully him by saying if he had a Kindle attached to his chest, he would be perfection itself." Anyway, moving on to our next story by Carvery Girl. It's titled, "Salvation Army Lady is Entitled to My Bracelet." So I've been thrifting a lot these past few months, and one of the things that I hunt for is silver in all forms. I've taught myself the basics of reading marks on items to figure out what kind of silver I'm holding. Well, I popped into Salvation Army because I hadn't had any luck at the Goodwill. I didn't find anything I liked, and as I went to walk out, I spotted vases packed with cheap jewelry. It was a luck of the draw type item. I looked them over and chose one that had a cuff in it. I hauled it home and dumped it out. I came across a bracelet that looked almost like a dull steel. I'm not much for steel, so set it aside when I double-checked it was stamped 925. I choked. Sterling silver? The dullness was tarnish. So I cleaned it up and slapped it onto my wrist. I went back to the army to see if I wanted to try my luck again, but the vases were gone. I asked if they might do them again soon. Lady says, "Not really. We got a large donation in and don't have room." Me, "Oh, darn. I wanted to see if my luck from yesterday was holding." Lady, "Oh yeah?" Me, "I found a sterling silver bracelet in the vase you sold me." I showed her the bracelet on my wrist, and the lady replies, "I'm sorry, but you need to give that back. It should not have ever been in there." I yanked my wrist back and said, no. I paid for the vase and bothered to double-check the bracelets. You're not getting it back." And she replies, "Think about the people who live in our shelters. We could resell it for more money." And I say, "No, I'm leaving." I got myself out in a hurry. I had a bad feeling that if I returned it to her, she would have sold it to herself. I was a little disturbed that she was using the shelter to try and get it back. I ended up calling the store later to talk to someone different. They didn't sound pleased over the phone. Whether about the bracelet or the person's attitude, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the silver is attracting crazies to me. This is the second time I've had to tell someone to buzz off my silver. And in the comments, SausageLover79 says, that's pretty effing rude to demand it back, regardless of what they wanted it for. It's not your fault someone, probably her, stuffed up. And our last post today is by user AlexMoreno794, titled, My entitled father wants me to pay his debts after cutting me off 5 years ago. So some context here. 5 years ago, when I was in my last year of university, my parents divorced, and for many reasons, which include my father being psychologically abusive, I decided to side with my mother and live with her. He was not happy with that, so he decided to ask for half of the worth of our home, even though my mother bought it completely on her own. To not lose our home, I got 3 part-time jobs in the spare time while I was studying, and we could finally pay him his share, and he left after destroying many things in our home. Yes, he stayed for 1 year while the divorce was in process. Anyway, he just quit talking to me one day, got a new partner, and then just left, telling me that his stepsons were the kids he's always wanted, instead of a geeky nerd. 'Cause yes, I'm an IT engineer. He didn't stop there, as he also talked to all of his family, my grandparents, cousins, aunts, and uncles, who also cut me off without even knowing my side of the story. Once I graduated with the best score in my faculty, I got a scholarship for an MBA in Italy, which only covered the basics plus the tuition, so my mother helped me a lot since I couldn't work with my visa. 3 years ago, I came back to my country, and suddenly, I got a great position in an international IT company, at the point in which I bought my car, a new apartment for us, and we have had a great life in general. Suddenly, he started to send me friend requests through Facebook, which I ignored and blocked his account. Yet he managed to get my phone number after I changed it, and he started calling me, telling me he and his wife are starving and his stepsons couldn't find a job. Basically, telling me I have to give him money and that he spent all of the share of the house we gave him, which was more than $50,000, paying for the university of his stepsons and for his wife's lifestyle. I just told him I'm sorry, but I won't do that. Now he started going to the reception of my apartment, telling me that I owe him this, and I have to be a better person, that he's always loved me, and I was the one who turned my back on him. All of his family, which are not mine at this point, started calling me as well, telling me I owe him a great share of my income, and I have to give him that, or else they will sue me? That's just bullcrap. I again just told them to F off, that's none of their business. The worst part was they came to my previous house, which my mother still owns, and broke every window, telling me that that was just the beginning of it if I don't hand him the money he wants. I just went to the police and got a restriction order. Yet, some of my friends told me that I should forgive him and try to help him out as he's still my father. I'm 26 male, yet I cried all night, remembering how he just forgot me, and all of his words, and now I honestly don't know what to do, as I could help him out without much effort. By this time, I'm feeling guilty of knowing that he's possibly starving, yet he got a new family, and now he wants me to pay for them too. I really don't know what to do here, but I think I can't forgive him right now. Now, in the comments, my precious, thanks Golem, replies, he's lying, and those lies about starving kids are to guilt and manipulate you. The crap weasels of the world rely on you being the bigger and better person because they get what they want out of you, and the only cost to them is granting you a moment of moral superiority as you bask in your bigger and betterness. To someone willing to steal hours or more of your life, meaning the hours you spent earning that money, that's an easy bargain. Plus, they get an ego boost because they're proud that they tricked you. Eventually forgive him for your sake, not his, but it doesn't have to be today. And even if you do forgive him, that doesn't have to mean an ongoing relationship. Be kind to yourself because he never will. And acceptable term replies, especially if his dad put his precious stepsons through college. There is no way that at least 2 kids are going to sit on their degrees and let the whole family starve. They just heard that OP is doing pretty good and they're jealous. Plus, if all of Dad's family took his side and cut off OP, they can save his family from starving. I'd get new friends too. F this, he's your father BS. Blood doesn't mean family, especially since his stepsons are his real children and not OP. I get family is mostly usual good, but the whole blood is thicker or stronger than water seems weird. I think of relationships and bonds as things that are forged over time, like metals and swords. You don't settle for iron or metal taken straight from the ground. You refine it and mix it into a strong and sturdy alloy. Blood is thicker than water, but maple syrup is thicker than blood, so basically pancakes are more important than family. I agree with you though. You can choose your family, not the ones that you're blood related to, but ones you trust with your blood? I tried to sound poetic and ended up sounding like a vampire. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.